Panchatattva ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Nitai Go Premanande. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Narayanam namaskritam naram chaivam narottamam Devim sarasvatim vyasam tato deyam urirayat Nasta presab abhadreshu nityam bhagavatasevaya Bhagavati utama shloke bhakti bhavati naishaki. Continue reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, chapter 59, text number 38. Since we finished 38 last time. Aham Payo Jyotir Atarino Namo Matrani Deva Mana Indriyani. Ada tiga. Karta Mahan Iti Akilam Chara-charam Twai Advitiye Bhagavan Ayam Brahma Aham payo jyotir atanilo nava Putrani deva mana indriyani Kartamahan iti akilam chara-charam Twai advitiye bhagavan ayam brahma Aham payo jyotir atanilo navo Matrani deva mana indriyani Kartamaham iti akilam characharam.
Ikilam chara
Tvai aditye bhagavan ayam brahman.
Raya Siti Bhagavan Ayam Brahma
Aham payojatir atanilo namo.
Ampayo Jukir Tanino Namo
Patrani deva mana indriyani.
Rami Devamana Indriyani
Kartamaham iti akilam characharam.
Karta Maham Iti Akilam Chara
Tvahi advitiye bhagavan aham brahman.
Vai Adviti Bhagavan Aham Payo Jukir Atanino Namo
Aham payojatir atinalo namo.
Devamana Indriyani
Patrani deva mana indriyani.
Karta Maham Iti Akilam Chara
Kartamaham iti akilam characharam.
Vai Adviti Bhagavan Ayam Brahma
Tvayi advitiye bhagavan ayam brahman.
Layi Adviti Bhagavan Ayam Brahma.
Ikaw nilang binasa.
Anong verse ba siya?
10:59:30.
Tapos na agad siya.
It's okay.
Ito nga, di ba? Ah,
Thank you.
Hampayo. Ito na basa.
Wala.
Wala.
Hampayo Jutir Atanilo Nabo.
Aham payojatir atanilo namo.
Matrani Deva Mana Indriyani.
Matrani deva mana indriyani.
Kartamahan Iti Akilam Characharam.
Kartamahan iti akilam characharam.
Kaya Dviti Bhagavan Ayam Brahma.
Tvayi adite bhagavan ayam brahman. Thank you. Aham, myself, earth, fire,
Kaya
water, jyoti, fire,
Fire.
ata,
Sa.
and
Air.
anila,
Kanila.
air,
Air.
nava, ether, matrani,
Matrami.
the various sense objects
Right. Sense. Object.
corresponding to each of the five gross elements.
Corresponding to each of the five first elements.
Deva, the demigods, mana,
No.
the mind,
Five.
indriyani,
Indriya.
the senses,
Senses.
karta,
Yeah.
the doer,
Doer.
false ego,
Whole ego.
mahan, the total material energy,
Total material energy.
mahat tattva,
Mahatatva.
iti, das, at ilang,
Ilang.
everything,
Everything.
chara,
Yeah.
moving,
Moving.
at chara,
Acharab.
and not moving,
And non-moving.
twahi, within you,
Then you.
advitiye,
Here.
who has no second,
Was no second.
Bhagavan,
Ano
O Lord,
All earth.
ayam,
I am.
this,
This.
Brahma,
Brahma.
illusion.
Illusion.
Translation and purport by the disciples of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. This is illusion, that earth, water, fire, air, ether, sense objects, demigods, mind, the senses, false ego, and the total material energy exist independent of you. In fact, they are all within you. My Lord, who are one without a second. Please repeat.
This is illusion that earth, water, fire, air, ether, sense objects, demigods, mind, the senses, false ego, and the total material energy exist independent of you. In fact, they are all within you. My Lord, who are one without the second.
Thank you. Perfect. The Earth Goddess, in her prayers, directly touches upon the subtleties of transcendental philosophy, clarifying that although the Supreme Lord is unique and distinct from His creation has no independent existence and always rests within Him. Thus, the Lord and His creation are simultaneously one and different. as explained by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu 500 years ago. To say that everything is God without any distinction is meaningless. Since nothing can act like God, dogs, shoes, and human beings are hardly omnipotent or omniscient, nor do they create the universe. On the other hand, there is a real sense in which all things are one, for everything is part of the same supreme, absolute reality. Lord Chaitanya has given the very useful analogy of the sun and the sun rays. The sun and its sunshine are one reality, for the sun is the celestial body that shines. On the other hand, one can certainly distinguish between the sun globe and the sun rays. Thus, God's simultaneous oneness, width, and difference from His creation is the final and satisfying explanation of reality. All that exists is the Lord's potency, and yet He endows the superior potency, the living beings, with free will, so that they can become responsible for the moral and spiritual quality of their decisions and activities. This entire transcendental science is clearly and rationally explained in the Srimad bhagavatam. Om Vajnana Tirindasya Vinanandana Salakaya Chaksuram Militam Yena Tasvai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manovistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadavayam Vinati Swapadantikam Panchakalpatarubhyasya Vipasindhuvya evacha Patitanam Pavunebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Vedhara Shivasani Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Kindly bless me so that I may speak something that can purify all of us and please the Lord somehow, simultaneously. Thank you. So, in this verse, the goddess is praying to the Lord, Krishna. She's saying that everything, earth, water, fire, ether, sense objects, demigods, mind, senses, false ego, total material energy is not independent. It's amazing. Everything in the creation, from the smallest thing to the most gigantic thing, is made up of the same thing. It's made of an atom, and an atom is surrounded by neuron and proton. Everything, from the smallest dust to the heavenly planets, is the same material elements. And this is how the Lord created everything. And very amazingly, if you look at the planets, how they are floating in the space, how they are not, smashing against each other, or how the sun is in its exact, accurate position. That it swerves just a fraction on the left, some planets will burn because of too much heat, and if it is off its proper location to the right just a fraction, some planets will freeze because they will not reach sufficient sunlight. And this is amazing how Lord Brahma has created the universe. And nothing in the creation is actually independent of the Lord. As it says on Bhagavad Gita, chapter 11, the offerings of the Lord, you are everywhere, you are in everything, and everything is in you. Everything is just, he was explaining to Arjun, there is no need to explain everything of my opulence, because he says that everything here is just a fraction, a drop of my opulence. It is sufficient to know that I am everywhere. I am in everything, and everything is in me. Just like, remember the past time when the Yashoda took a look at the mouth of Krishna, because Balaram says, Mata, Krishna is eating earth. He is eating mud. So Mother Yashoda, out of great concern, asked, Krishna, is it true? Are you eating mud? And Krishna said, no, I'm not doing that. Krishna says, they're angry at me, so they are, telling lies about me. And Mother Yashoda says, okay. But can I see? Can I take a look inside your mouth? Okay. And when Krishna opened his mouth, Mother Yashoda saw what? The entire universe was in there. And in that universe, he was also in there. What's going on here? He was, the entire universe is in it, and I'm also in there. And she saw herself looking at Krishna. And this was bewildering. And she almost fainted, but she, whoosh, what's going on? It's like, for her, she cannot believe, no way, Jose, that somehow to think that Krishna is the Supreme, because for her, Krishna is her beloved baby. So much love for her beloved baby that, she always takes good care of him. She would breastfeed him, he would caress him, he would, sing lullaby to him. So for her, it is not possible that Krishna is the Supreme. She is his word, For her, he is the most precious thing. And so, here, Lord Chaitanya explained when he was here 500 years ago, that the entire existence always rests within Krishna. Krishna is in charge of everything. There's a part in Srimad bhagavatam when the Lord said that out of fear of me, the wind blows. Out of fear of me, the cloud sends forth rain. Out of fear of me, fire burns. Out of fear of me, death takes its toll. So everything that is happening, when I was in high school, I remember my teacher in science told us that the reason why there's movement of the air, or why the wind is blowing, is because of the uneven heat on the surface of the earth. So the wind is blowing because the heat on the surface of the earth is uneven. I believed it because I did not know much. So this is one of the problems in the world. Not being uneducated, but the problem is being educated enough, but not questioning what is really education. What is real education? People think it's sufficient to just go to school, study, so you can make money. work. But that is not real education. And what is the aim of education, the end or the purpose of education? Where does it end? When you go to school, you start elementary, high school, middle school, then you go to college. Sometimes you just take not a full college, but a 2-year vocational course. And then some people take into 4-year courses, and after 4-year courses they go to graduate school. Sometimes they go to master's school and then doctorate school. It seems like an endless journey. I have a friend in high school. When he got to college, he went to different courses, about 5 different courses. He never finished any of them. But according to the scriptures, the end of knowledge, the purpose of knowledge, is really to get to know Krishna. Otherwise, all the education that you acquire is equivalent to contamination. Education is contamination. It is not connected to Krishna. If it's not giving you enlightenment, it's giving you confinement. You're not being enlightened, you're being confined. So, my friend from Janakpurdam, Maharaj, Chintamani Maharaj, he says that if you have a high degree in college, if you have master's degree, you have a doctorate's degree, and you want to learn spiritual knowledge, what you should do is put that certificate, that degree, all that knowledge, put it on a plastic, run to the trash can, throw it there fast, and go to the temple and learn real education. Because real education is spiritual education. This type of education will help you transfer from the material plateau to the spiritual plateau. Spiritual education is most valuable. This is the only education that wherein you can purchase love of God. How much do you think that is? That is too pricey. Doesn't have a price tag, actually. Going back to that. Just imagine how much it costs from here traveling to, say, Mindanao, going to Siargao, or traveling to Hong Kong, US, Canada. Or imagine going to the moon. Retrospectively, also when I was in college, there was an endeavor by the US government to sell properties in the moon, because they said that they will colonize the moon. Somehow they will build a place there, because the earth is decaying, it's dying, it's too much crowded and too much pollution, that it will somehow or other decay, and we need a new place to stay. And they were selling properties in the moon. There were some rich people who bought some properties there. I don't know, they're rich, but somehow they got convinced that they will need to leave the earth, not knowing Krishna, not knowing spiritual knowledge, that no way you can go anywhere unless you have the body for it. Like, the book of Srila Prabhupada, Easy Journey to Other Planets. How easy it is. sun is very near. It's only 93 million miles away. Malapit lang yun 93 million miles away. But how can you get there when the sun is 93 million miles away and you can feel the heat here? Right? When you try to go there, how will you withstand that heat? It is not possible. You will just combust. You will go sprata. You will not be able to withstand that heat. Or going to the moon. That's pretty far, and the moon is very, very cold. Not with this body, you will not be able to withstand the cold. I remember Bala Krishna here telling me about ice bath. That's very cool. Once I was in San Diego, I was able to experience swimming on winter at a lake. It was so cold. As soon as I jumped on the lake, I felt like going back up into the I jumped from a hill. I was, thinking to myself, how come nobody's taking a dip? There was a lot of people there, but nobody was swimming. And I was new in the States at that time, so I think, maybe I should show off and show them that Filipinos know how to swim. But as soon as I took a dive, as I entered the water, I felt the freezing cold. I felt like, in the cartoons, going back. But as soon as I had an opportunity, I went to the shore and ran to my tent and got close to the fire. It was so freezing. And that is just the season that we have here. Imagine, in the moon, there is no heat. How cold can that be? That is, before you even touch to the moon, you will freeze to death. So, easy journey to other planets does not mean that you travel in this body. Because even in this earth, there are bodies meant to live on the water. Some bodies are meant to live under the earth. And nowadays, scientists are discovering that there are fire bacteria. So there are entities who can survive fire. Actually, they are dwelling in it. They're living in it. So if you want to travel somewhere, you have to be equipped. And the only way to do that is to exit this body and acquire another body. But not through some contraptions, mechanical contraptions that would travel. The Apollo before it was able to even get out of the pool of gravity, it took 12 Apollos, which cost millions and millions of dollars. It burnt. It crashed. It wasn't successful. Only the Apollo 13 was able to get out of the pool of gravity. The degree or how much or the pool of gravity is. That is what the 7-Eleven is famous for. 711 miles per second. That is the gravitational pull. That is escape velocity before you can get out of the gravitational pull, the law of gravity. 711 miles per second is what they call the escape velocity. So they were only able to break out of it. Up to 12 Apollos killed so many people and destroyed so many assets, millions and millions. And still, the 13th Apollo actually was a bluff. Prabhupada says they never made it to the moon. No way, Jose. It is not possible. But, the government has to continue business. And so they faked it. And after some time, the people who were engaged in that business also came forward. They came forward and told the truth that, they never really made it. Because going to other places, it requires transfer from this material body to a different element. We have to understand, the value of life, and to be able to appreciate it better, for you to understand better how important life is, you have to visit 3 different places. One is a hospital. If you have been to a hospital recently, you will understand how important it is to maintain your health. So many people in the hospital are suffering. Young, old, women, children. No discrimination. Disease will come to us all. That's why Prabhupada is saying, take care of your health. And one of the ways that you can do this is, Prabhupada explained that if you wake up early, attend Mangala, take care of your sadhana, then you will become healthy, wealthy, and wise. Because Krishna will take care of you. If he takes charge of your life, then automatically you will have less worries in life. He is, as it is said here, in charge of everything. So if you have gone to a hospital, I have a sister, 2 of them, they are working as registered nurses. They said that especially the old people who are neglected by their family, they just want to die. But still, they're not dying. They're still suffering. Some of them years on end suffering, and not knowing that this suffering has a purpose, not being in touch with divinity. They just think that they are so unfortunate that the universe is against them. But actually everybody in this world is in pain. Everybody is suffering. But actually if you're a devotee of Krishna, even though you are in pain, suffering is optional. So the other places that you need to visit to be able to appreciate life better is, one is hospital, the other is prison. Because in prison you will see how people are living miserably without freedom. And I remember even if you get out of prison, just like Nelson Mandela, when Nelson got out of prison, someone offered him Bhagavad Gita, and he says, "Oh, thank you, I don't need it because I have already read this book while I was in prison." And the devotee asked, "Really? You've read Bhagavad Gita?" Nelson Mandela said, "Yes." "Okay, what did you learn from it? The quintessence of it?" And Nelson Mandela says, "I specifically learned from Bhagavad Gita that if I should hold grudge against the people who have put me in prison, who have conspired to give me in prison life, if I hold a grudge against them, then even though I am free, then I will still be in prison. So sometimes it's not just the confinement that imprisons us. Even though you are outside of prison, sometimes our mentality still puts us in prison. And it's the same way with war. Sometimes we are fighting with other people, even though you are not physically fighting or verbally, but in our mind we are fighting. So we need to avoid these things. Freedom from these negativities is very important. And we can attain this by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This is the great mantra for the liberation of the mind. Okay, the other place that you need to visit and learn from, understand, is the cemetery. In the cemetery, you will understand that the ground that we are walking on now, in the future, it will be the roof over our head. So understanding these things by going to these places, hospital, prison, and cemetery, then we would be able to live better. We would take care better of ourselves. Not just physically, but most importantly, spiritually. Because after all, we are spiritual beings undergoing material experience. We are not the other way around, material beings undergoing spiritual activities. It's the other way around. We are temporarily confined in this body. So we have to have Shreya and Preya, short-term and long-term plans. We need to take care of business while we are here, but we should never neglect, we should never forget our long-term plans. Self-realization, prepare to go back home and bring as many people as possible in our journey towards back home, back together. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Alright, we have 30 minutes. If you have anything to add, that would be great. And if you have anything to ask, I will try to answer it. Yes, Sally. Akala ko tinataas mo kami. You were pointing to Gina.